It is Live Bold and Boss Up, and we are live at the Mahaffey Theater for the TBT Powered Up Tech Fest. And we are talking to speakers coming off the stage. And right now, we get a chance to speak with Beth Galic. She's the president of BAMA, which is the Bay Area Manufacturing Association. And we chat with Jay Rogers, who is the CEO of Haddy, both in the manufacturing industry, but still has like a very technical component
Hmm.
and very, very impressive individuals, very unassuming. Steph and I were just talking about how Jay used to be a sniper. How cool is that? Like, it's so interesting that you can do one thing and kind of switch and go into
Yeah.
another area.
Well, and I think in hearing his story, like that's kind of was the backbone to how we got into manufacturing. Like it just kind of evolved over time. But manufacturing is so interesting to me because you don't think of it as like very technical. You think of it more as like hard labor and big warehouses, but there's so much more that goes into it and creating all the items and products that are very technical and all the technology that goes behind it. So just hearing them talk about it and the tech side of it is very interesting to me.
Okay, great.
And we have Jay and Beth here at Powered Up. We're live, and you just got off stage. How was it?
It was awesome. So thank you. I mean, we really enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, great discussion from Jay. So lots of information and lots of advice for the audience and his background being in manufacturing here in Tampa Bay and how he's using automation. So a lot of great information shared.
Awesome. Tell us about that. Like, tell us about your company. What does it do? And then I think it's such a cool topic, robotics, automation, and manufacturing. Like, tell us more.
I run a company called Haddy, and we chose to come here to the Tampa Bay area because we felt like it was a growing entrepreneurial ecosystem, and it's a manufacturing company, and we use robotics to be able to manufacture. And once you build with a robot, it's able to be instructable by data. And so the growing pace of artificial intelligence and the amount of data that it creates means that if you have robots, unlike humans, they just do what they're told. And so it's great to be in robotics. It's great to be in Tampa Bay. And we chose to make furniture with our robots. So the company's name is Haddy, and it stands for Heroic, Agile, Designed, Durable, and Yours. And so we're an enterprise furniture maker that has giant robots that are instructable by data.
Very cool.
And I'm with the Bay Area Manufacturers Association. So we're a local trade association for manufacturing companies. And you wouldn't believe it, but there are 3,500 manufacturing companies here in our region. So lots of manufacturing going on here. In fact, Florida is the fifth state for manufacturing productivity. And with automation, we can even go higher. So our organization is here to help manufacturing companies provide resources and help manufacturers grow.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about the Tampa Bay area being such a big manufacturing
Yes.
um, area. Is that why you chose to move here, move your company here?
We were looking at COVID time and we wanted to go to a state that was open. So I think a lot of people that chose Florida during that time, it was just because it was easier to do business. And so for me in 2021, I made the choice to come to Florida. It was a little bit the fact that I'd grown up here as a little kid, not in St. Pete though. I grew up over in Palm Beach, and so it was very different. And I wasn't going to build this business in the corridor from Palm Beach to Miami. We needed to reach most of the population of Florida, and that's too hard to get to Tallahassee and Jacksonville and other things like that in a day. And so we looked at Orlando and we looked at Tampa. And there just really wasn't a competition for us. I mean, Tampa was just bigger and growing and awesome. And we do about now half the deals that get done in Miami from a private equity and venture perspective, and it's growing, and Tampa's catching up. But we have much more land and much more ability, for people to be able to afford to build a life here. So I bet on Tampa, and then I bet on the living room of Tampa, which is St. Petersburg. So I started the company here in St. Pete, and that's why we chose it.
Okay, I had to look at Steph on that one because she was born and raised in St. Pete and she loves St. Pete. So that just like I felt her glow when you said that. Like St. Pete is the living room. That is so loving.
It is.
I love that.
It's the living room. Yeah.
That's great. And so you work with all the manufacturing company. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of them. So you see them coming to Tampa, in Tampa Bay, I should say, and you just kind of connect them all, or like how do you help the manufacturing companies and like that whole space?
Well, speaking of St. Pete, our organization started in St. Petersburg with 12 manufacturing companies, and it was 64 years ago. So we've been around for a very long time, and we help manufacturers through workforce development, networking, education, advocacy, and technology. So really, we're a one-stop shop for manufacturing companies for whatever their needs are. They can come to us, and we can help them directly, or we can put them in touch with who can. So we really want to grow our manufacturing community here, and make it even stronger. You know, manufacturing has been growing by leaps and bounds in our area, but there's so much more potential.
What technology advancements are you seeing in manufacturing, like with AI, obviously robotics, but is there like what's in the future for manufacturing?
Oh my God, manufacturing has been it's been the hard thing to do because it's hard to do. And so, there's a great book that Ben Horowitz wrote called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. It's a hard thing to do. And so it's more physical. And I don't just mean like you need a lot of muscles to do it. It's just more physical. There are things you're moving around, but it has job multipliers associated with it. So you make more jobs when you engage manufacturing. We're going to lose some jobs regarding AI, but we're going to make them up in manufacturing because of that. And the manufacturing is going to be more intelligent. And I think it also will make people happier. I really do. I've lived in 20 cities all over the world. And it's one of the reasons why I chose to move to kind of what I call a living room city, because I really believe in happiness. When I think people show up to work, if they're happy, they do more. And so I think that when we marry the trends of manufacturing and good places to work, I think that America is going to see a lot more productivity. And that means that the software dominant cities, San Francisco, Boston, Washington, D.C., we know them, New York, and even now Miami to some degree in certain industries, they're going to lose some of their gravity as manufacturing distributes the jobs in other places. It's really hard to bring a manufacturer into San Francisco and into New York now and into Miami. And so that means that it's just easier to move and also a nicer lifestyle for people to live in and move. So I think that we see in BAMA the same kinds of things that you're going to see in other places. But what I hope for is I hope that that the manufacturers of the world, whether they're sign companies or whether they're the nuclear power industry or whether they are, I don't know, you pick it, a textile manufacturer, I hope that they take confidence in the fact that like they are the most productive jobs in the US. And so far, they've gotten beaten down by the software industry because of the development of apps and apps that ride on mobile devices and other things like that. And the returns have not been in the manufacturing industry as much as they could have. But now that's going to change because AI powering manufacturing is going to make those companies deeply productive and deeply meaningful. And so I think there's a lot of good tailwinds for manufacturing that are coming up as a result of the changes that are happening in places like St. Pete are going to get it. Tampa and St. Pete.
That's wonderful. I'm sure the listeners are extremely happy to hear that like the technology advances are going to actually help us and make everyone happier, right, in their jobs and not take away right. It's going to take away jobs, but it's going to also provide jobs as well. And I think a lot of people listening are a little worried sometimes about AI taking away certain jobs. That's great to hear.
The fear is definitely there. So for the listeners that are like feeling angst or angst ridden about what's going on with AI, it could be that I feel stupid. It could be that I think my job's going to get taken away. It could be like, oh my God, I was already struggling to pay bills and now there's something else that's going to come and compete against me. All those are very real feelings. But as much as those things have granules of truth or a lot of truth associated with them, the opportunity to get a new job, do a different job, upskill, do those things, if you self-actuate, is so much more available now than it ever was before. I mean, I'll give one example. It is possible that within the next 2 years, someone is going to build a business on Amazon and they're going to have an AI do it and they're just going to instruct it to go make $100 million for them. Seems so.
Sign us up.
Sign me up. Sign me up. But what those types of things are that happen, I mean, you need to be able to order product. You need to be able to issue purchase orders. You need to be able to issue invoices. You need to build a social media campaign. You need to be able to run ad copy. You need to be able to see whether it's paying you on a return on ad spend. All of those things are doable by bots at this stage. So it's possible and probable that that's going to happen. And then what will happen after that? How many other people will use that to build businesses better? And so I think that that's really the opportunity that's in front of us, the explosion of change associated with it. And so I think you have to get after it as an individual. I don't think you can sit back on a couch and have it accrue to you, but that's never been sort of the American ethos. Yeah.
So, how did you decide to start a manufacturing company? Like, is that something you've always wanted to do?
That's probably to me, the most fun question. Probably to all the members of people who started manufacturing companies, maybe the most fun question for all of us. Some people inherited them and didn't have a choice and that kind of thing. I did have a choice. I was a Marine for 8 years, and I was a sniper in the Marine Corps, and a ground intelligence officer, and I loved my job. And I really, truly could have done it for the rest of my life. And then in my last deployment, 2 of my friends were killed, and I just decided that I wanted to do something that was less deadly for everybody, for myself included. And so that was a change for me. Leaving a job that I loved, and a job that felt very necessary. And so when I looked around, I wanted to have meaning. And so I started to think about what could I do, and I got into the vehicle industry, and this was in 2008, and I started to build a company that was building self-driving cars. And in order to build a car, it was the full stack. We wanted to build an original equipment manufacturer, and so that meant we were going to do the Henry Ford thing. And if I had a nickel for lots of people who want to go build a car, like Chris Van Dusen wrote a great kids book about it, like If I Built a Car. If you have kids, you've seen the book. And so I wanted to build a car. Well, I did it. It took 15 years, and we could only do it because we 3D printed the car.
Oh,
And
that's
so
really cool. Love
yeah,
that.
yeah. And it was this foundational technology to make it happen. We built incredible vehicles. We beat Mercedes in all of their crash tests. We built 3 factories. We deployed 300 families around the world in those 3 factories, and we built hundreds of these vehicles, and they were autonomous, electric, small shuttles. They would carry about 8 to 13 people. You could game inside them. You could shop inside them. You could sleep inside them. You could do all these incredible things. But America was not ready for them. The world was not ready for them because we weren't trusting autonomy on the road. We still only have 5 cities that allow self-driving vehicles to operate. So I was like, right technology, wrong timing. And so it didn't hurt me generally in terms of my feelings about it. I just felt stoked that we had done it. But you have to make money too. And so like that was a hard part for me, and trying to figure out what to do next. So I just necked it down. I loved all the tech that was in it, but the thing I loved the most was the 3D printing. I just thought it was incredible that we could build a car without a tool, no stamping, no big presses, no like 7-year tax of like, well, it costs us $300 million to tool for this thing, so now we got to pay it off, and we get a Camry that looks like a Camry for 7 years. And so I was really excited about doing it, and I just chose an industry that fit the tech. And so I started to look for big industries. I looked at the casket industry, and I was like, that's kind of interesting, but it's kind of small. It's a little morbid. Yeah. I mean, we could spend all day and go really deep on that subject. And so anyway, I just like, there was a lot of things that could have been made, and I thought furniture was fun because I thought it was pretty. I thought it was slow. I thought it was like I had watched the fabric industry and the fashion industry totally renovate when Zara came on the scene from 1996. Like this great couple said, we can do it more and faster, and like stop buying clothing that was only available 2 times a year in 2 different, trunk shows. And so I was like, wow, same thing could happen in furniture. And they were kind of the same size industry before they started. So that was the reason why I pivoted out of automotive, took the 3D printing technology, and stopped being a Marine, and started making furniture. Long answer to a very short question.
It's a great story. Yeah. And how about you?
Well, I came into it a little bit differently. I had worked in water treatment up in Pittsburgh. So I got into manufacturing that way. And my role was marketing. So my job was to take the complex and make it simple, or make the not so pretty pretty. So making what was happening understandable to customers and to the general public. So it was really fascinating to me. You don't realize until you start going into these manufacturing companies and touring them everything that goes into the smallest component. I mean, how much detail and time that all of those things take that we take for granted every day. So it was always so fascinating to me on how things are made, and then being in the, kind of the story of it. Let's make a story about this and the process. So that's how I got into it, just fascinated with manufacturing. Worked in manufacturing for about 12 years. And then we joined the association because we wanted to give back to the community. We wanted to get some of the resources available to us, help build a strong manufacturing community here in Tampa. And I got really involved on the board of directors with the association, and then took over the role of executive director and now president of the association. And really, my first memories of being in the association was just how intelligent all of our business owners were. Funny, intelligent, smart, and I just love being part of the community. Everyone is so down to earth and really willing to share. So that's one of the greatest things is business owner to business owner. They're so willing to share what's worked for them. And that's the thing that really stands out about the Tampa Bay region. We recently toured a manufacturing company. The owner was talking about her process on hiring. She said, call me, if you're having difficulty, call me and I'll be happy to walk through my process with you. So it's that, just helping each other build a strong community.
I would agree with you. We see the same in tech in Tampa Bay, business owners supporting business owners, and it's great to see.
Really great.
But thank you so much for being on here today. This
Thank
was
you for having us.
fun and very enlightening.